Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what is going on? How's it going? Welcome back to 1-0, and what a last couple of days it has been. I mean, if you're joining the last video, you would have seen it. If you're new from there, you would have seen Tottenham, why I think Tottenham will win the league. That video broke records on the channel. Very, very, very grateful for everything on that, all the support on that. To all the new subscribers, if you're watching this, welcome. How's it going? Thanks for coming. I said in that video the goal for the end of the year is 300 subs, and at that point it was a bit of just a lull. But at this point, we're only 9 away. So if you can, before we start, like, subscribe, do all that fancy stuff, and tune in for today's little video, because I've got to tell you the top 5 Paul Pogba replacements that I personally would make if I was in charge of Manchester United. So it's not who I necessarily think that they will sign. Pogba might not even go. I'm a United fan myself, so there's probably a little bit of a bias towards the players who I'm saying. But if you think someone would be a good fit for United, leave in the comments. If you think Pogba might not even go, should Paul Pogba even go? Leave that in the comments. Should Paul Pogba leave Manchester United? But to first start it off, I'm going to go the man who's already been here before, Cristiano Ronaldo. He's going to be the player who I think Man United should prioritise straight away. And there's already rumours that he could be included in a swap deal if it does happen. I heard the other day that Juventus are actually financially a bit of a struggle. So whether that actually does happen, who knows? If it's a Pogba for a Ronaldo straight swap, then I don't think that'd be too shabby. But for Ronaldo to come in, the problem with that is, I think if he comes in, United are low-key expected to become title contenders. The sad thing is, as again, United fan myself, I still don't think that's what we need. I think even with Ronaldo coming in, I still don't think we could challenge properly for the title. I think we'd be more competitive, obviously, but I don't think we'd still be able to challenge for the title, which is a crazy thing to say. But I think defensively, so many problems there, and I'm going to get to that later on. But what Ronaldo will do for the team, if he does come, will just be, you've got that link with Bruno, with Ronaldo. Obviously not a like-for-like position, but in terms of marketing even, the amount of sales Ronaldo will make. I heard rumours that Chevrolet are willing to throw a lot of money to pay like almost 70% of Ronaldo's wages if he does come, knowing that if he does join United again, shirt sales through the roof. I mean, I might swap one out. And how sick is the new studio, by the way? I'll tell you what, how sick is the new studio? So that would be my first preference, I think. It would be my first one. If they come and say, let's do the swap deal, I think he'd be my, all right, if we can get Ronaldo, then I'm a happy man, obviously. But again, in no particular order, I've got as a second option, and someone who I really, really, really like as a player, as a footballer, and as I don't know him personally, but as a person also, is Declan Rice, the captain of West Ham. And he's someone who I don't know why United aren't frothing him up. I think it's almost pretty much nearly done that he does. If he does leave, it's to Chelsea. But I think that him at a United team, is captain obviously of West Ham. He's still young, like 21, 22. Him obviously at a West Ham being captain, if he comes, he brings that leadership. He brings that sort of authoritarianship. Can we get a fact check on that? No one's here. I don't know if it's a word. Who knows? Leave in the comments. But if he does, like Declan Rice, I think in that defensive midfield role for Manchester United, he can also play centre back. I personally wouldn't prefer him there, but the way United's going, maybe we could chuck a donut in centre back and we'll probably do better. But I don't understand why United aren't all over him. He would cost an arm and a leg, that's for sure, probably 70, 80 mil. But bro, he could be there for the next 10 years. He could probably walk in now and be United's captain, if not vice, after Bruno, because sack Maguire off. For me personally, Declan Rice is the player where I go, you know what? He's the one player I'd take from any other club in the Premier League. Declan Rice. That's a bold call, say whether or not. What do we think about Declan Rice? Do we like him? Do we not really like him? Is he a little bit overrated? He's still young. He's played 100 Premier League games. He's like 21 years old, which is mental. I could probably see him taking over Henderson as captain of England also. I got high praise for Declan Rice. A big fan of him. And I'd love to see him come in if Pogba does leave. Because then that would give, Donny van de Beek a bit more of a freelance, Bruno more creative role up front. let him push on, and Declan Rice can just sit back a little bit and support the defence, which we all know we need. Next up, I've got Jack Grealish. Now, this is one when last year it was happening, I was kind of saying I don't really want him because I wasn't totally convinced. Because I'm a Grealish fan myself, but last year I was a bit. His first season in the Premier League, but I was a little bit like, he's not really worth it, is he? I'm glad we didn't pay the 100 mil that they were asking for, 70, 80 mil, whatever it was. But as of now, I'm kind of thinking, you know what? He's someone who plays for the club. And I've got a Jack Grealish video coming out on Wednesday, which is going to be, I'll tell you, why Jack Grealish should stay at Aston Villa. And I will check that out on Wednesday. I recorded that a couple of days ago. So check that out. Let me know what you think when that's out on Wednesday afternoon. Be there or be square. But as a Paul Pogba replacement, not really like-for-like positions again. Do we really need someone in that attacking midfield role? Because we do have a Bruno. But I think Grealish is a little bit more of a realistic option. But I don't see him playing for United anytime soon. We'll suss out my video in the next 2 days. Make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications for all that to make sure you don't miss that. But Jack Grealish is someone who I'm like, I'd like to see him in United because he's got a bit of ticker about him. And obviously, if you saw the photo, he's a top lad. But I think there'd be better alternatives. Next up, we've got the man who took Ajax by storm and is at Juventus right now. And it's someone who I thought of the other day, which not a like-for-like position, but if it's a swap deal for Paul Pogba and Matthijs de Ligt, I think this one would be one of the top class swaps or trade deals even. If we know United know that the centre back issue is a huge problem. The only problem with de Ligt is that he's slow. So if you put de Ligt and Maguire, I'm not comparing the two ability wise, but that's a very slow defence, and you need someone in front of them like a Declan Rice to probably need to sit back a little bit and cover up the pace that's missing there. But Matthijs de Ligt, I actually saw just before I started this rumours that Juventus are willing to put Demiral, the young Turkish centre-back, and Matthijs de Ligt forward for Paul Pogba. Honestly, I'd probably accept that. If it's plus like 20 mil or something, not even, to be honest, I'd probably accept it. I think de Ligt we saw him at the World Cup with Netherlands, obviously the Champions League with Ajax during that run. He's best mates with Donny van de Beek. So I think I wouldn't mind a Matthijs de Ligt joining Man United. They've got the relationship United with Ajax. Obviously, he's at Juventus now, but with Ajax, personally with Van der Sar, that's how we got Donny van de Beek, and I think that would be a top signing. But again, I think Matthijs de Ligt is someone who's kind of flown under the radar a bit. I know he didn't have a best season last year for Juventus, been injured a bit this year, but I'd really like to see it, and it low-key fixes the defensive woes that United are suffering all season again. But the problem is, do we start Maguire and de Ligt, two very slow centre-backs? Now, last but not least, it's not a signing, is someone who's already at the club, who United fans, such as myself, just adore this young man. And I've got Donny van de Beek. So I know I said top 5 replacements for Paul Pogba if he does leave. But I think that the signing of Bruno Fernandes and the signing of Donny van de Beek was preparation in replacement before Pogba even left. So I think we were preparing for Paul Pogba to leave when we signed Bruno and when we signed Donny van de Beek. Now, if we do keep Van de Beek, obviously it relieves some fees and all the money to buy a centre-back and strengthen the defence, because we know that needs to happen at United. But what it doesn't mean that the midfield's a little bit weaker. I personally would have, with minus Pogba, I'd personally have Fred, Donny van de Beek and Bruno. But when Fred doesn't perform, that midfield can get exposed like a pair of underpants. Legit. It could be a mess. Which is why I'm saying Donny van de Beek becomes our man. He becomes our man in midfield. He plays with heart. He's a class footballer. He knows what he's doing. He does it all. He's a good player. Give him the opportunities and he will do bits with it. So if we keep Donny van de Beek when Paul Pogba leaves, hopefully get money or other players. If we get a Ronaldo from a Pogba, if that's part of the swap deal, get other players with that Paul Pogba swap, and then strengthen that defense. Right wing, we know is an issue. Striker position, even maybe strengthen the squad. Then I think that'd be ideal. So ultimately, my fantasy for I've always been a Paul Pogba fan. I still like him I don't really want him to leave, but if he comes out and bashes the club with his agent Mino Raiola, who's an absolute donut, then go for a walk. But I've always loved whoever wears a United shirt, I'm gonna love. I'm gonna back them because they play for the club that I love. So my ultimate fantasy, if Paul Pogba does leave, is the trade happens for Paul Pogba and Matthijs de Ligt plus money or another player. Donny van de Beek becomes the new man in midfield. And we sign Ronaldo because why not? Thanks for coming. So I think that ultimately will make me a little bit excited. If it means we've strengthened the defense, with Donny van de Beek's the new man, it probably means that we need to sign another midfielder that's a little bit more defensive because Matic probably on his way out. And hopefully we can get Ronaldo. We can get a forward. Maybe we get Sancho. Who knows? So let me know in the comments below, what do you think is the best signing Manchester United can make in replacement for Pogba? Which trade should they accept for if Juventus come at them? I think it's really only between Juventus and Real Madrid. I don't see any other clubs really coming for them. Should Paul Pogba leave? Are Manchester United in absolute shambles? The Manchester derby was this morning, 0 or draw, fell asleep like 10 times. So if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, do all that business. Thank you so much for the support. Almost hitting 300 subs. That's my goal for the end of the year. If we can finish that off like now, we'll smash it. Like, share, do all that business. Thank you so much for coming. I'm your host, Costa. We're about to make next year, 2021, a year to remember. Deuces.